All right, then I think we can start the session. Hi, guys. Good evening. And thank you for joining in for the third session of Talk Masters 2022. I'm Sharon, a convener at We Speak IIT Bombay, our Speaking Arts Club. I'll be moderating today's session. I welcome you all to the third session of Talk Masters 2022 about body language and public speaking. Our speaker for today is the inspiring, passionate, and enthusiastic Miss Swarleen Kaur. Her life's motto is create change within. It is about changing the world by first changing themselves. She's been a youth personality development coach and educator for over 18 years, an award winning international speaker. Ms. Wallin has delivered two stimulating TEDx talks. She founded the Talk Room, Uttarakhand's first personality school. The school aims to do more than just improve spoken English. The mission is to empower people by developing intrapersonal and soft skills in a wholesome manner. He's also a board member at the Indo-Canadian Education Council. Today's session, you will receive knowledge on the skills required to master body language in public speaking. With no further delay, I call upon Mrs. Swarleen Kaur. The stage is yours, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the invite, and I look forward to attend this session with you. By the way, I can see all the windows are closed for me so that I can feel that everybody's on the mutes or maybe everybody's there or not. I'll be a little apprehensive. Can we all come on the videos if it is convenient with you, please? We're going to talk about body language. How do I even think of talking about body language when I don't see you? Thank you, Dhatri. That's really sweet of you for coming for a while. Is there anybody all interested to come up on the video rather than being off the video? Or it may be a humble request from my side for everybody to come on the video. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can see some windows opening for me. Thank you. A few more are required. Or I must say few have opened and many more are required. All right, till I wait to see more people, let me quickly begin. We're going to talk about body language in public speaking. My first question for you is, what do you understand when I say body language? Anybody would like to answer that? What do we understand by body language? I can see some smiles coming my way. Exactly, it is a part of body language. I think somebody's on unmute. Okay. All right. So
is it like a part of non-verbal communication and all?
It is, my dear. So when you say, who's that? Can I have you on the window? Who's that?
Dhatri.
Okay, Dhatri. Yeah, I can see you. Okay, Dhatri, are you a little confused about it is or it is not?
No, like it is, but is it just a part or I don't know which one's bigger?
All right. Okay. So before I start with my session, I want to tell you a beautiful story, right? So now there was this king who used to rule his entire nation. Now this king was very fond of listening music. And he would, call upon different singers, different musicians from different backgrounds and would ask them to sing for him. Now, these musicians, when they started to sing, when they went deep into music, it was like they were lost, immersed in something. And their eyes would get closed, and yet they were singing, and some used to stop crying, and some used to start smiling. So once the king was so obsessed by somebody singing that he calls him and says, "Why do you smile in between? You were just singing. So what is there to smile for?" This musician was quite a learned person. And he asks him, "Well, Do you get my emotions when I sing? Do you understand my passion when I sing? Do you understand the state of feelings I have when I sing? The king was taken by surprise. He says, no, the music just connects me. Now I understand why it does, because it emotes. Sometimes it is not essential that I may say something. As you said, Dhatri, non-verbal cues. Your smile is telling me that yes, you are enjoying. You've started to get into the session, right? So now that's a clue for me. That's a cue I'm getting from you. Of course, it's a non-verbal cue, right? It's not like the way we nod our head. Oh yeah, I'm getting that. So even if I don't say, yeah, I'm getting that, I am still getting it. Isn't that like that? So it's important. When I talk about body language, there is a complete world of how we portray our body language in our public speaking skills. And for that matter, it is important. Can I share my screen, please?
Yes, ma'am, you can. Just a minute.
Sure.
Ma'am, does this work?
I need it from another ID. I'm from two IDs because one of them, the PPT isn't working. So if you could give me this share screen.
I've given the permission, ma'am. I think you can share screen now.
All right. Can everybody see my screen now? When I
Yes,
talk
ma'am,
about
works.
body language, it's important I understand that it is the non-verbal communication which involves my body movement. Now, it has a lot of terminology. It has gesturing, it has my posture when I'm speaking. What is that one fear we all have when we do public speaking?
Fear of being
Everybody
judged.
being judged. Absolutely, bang on. We think, we feel as if we are being judged. We would be like, what do they call in the Indian society? Sabse bada rog kya kahenge log. And with this fear, we control ourselves, or sometimes I may say we have a complete control and over our own selves that I am not going to do it. The reason of being judged. There's another reason, maybe the lack of confidence. There can be another reason, my environment, my education, and my experience. Now, these three E's, they form our complete personality. Education, experience, and my environment. How many of you love public speaking? How many of us love doing public speaking? No hands raised, and we still so many of us in the room. All right, let me ask you this way. How many of us are afraid of public speaking? Okay, Elise, I can see two hands. Okay. 3. Why are we? Oh, so now we are gathering that courage of slowly and gradually raising our hands, right? See, you must be, surprised to know this, that according to the recent data, public speaking is the biggest fear one carries, bigger than death. Yes, the data has said so. This glossophobia is pretty common. Again, I would say because of being judged. But the question is, what do I do? How do I produce myself in front of public? Now, there are many people, excuse me, who think public speaking is only a formal thing of getting onto the stage, performing, and getting done. If I'm speaking to 3 or 4 people in a group, even that's public speaking. Now, again, the question arises, but I don't feel so afraid when I'm speaking to a group or bunch of my people. Why? Because I have no fear of being judged. They're my friends. Come on, they're my relatives. So my question comes up again. The people whom you are speaking to, do they know your script? No. You're the master of your own script, right? Just imagine your mom calling you once, twice. I'm sure this happens in every home. The third time she will call you and like, are you listening to me? Oh, just shrugging my shoulders, telling her that, oh, I was listening to you. If even I don't speak, shrugging my shoulders is my body language. I did not have to utter a word. We all know Mehrabian's principle. 7% is the content. With my posture not straight, with my shoulders a little drooped, will you for a time, for a moment think that, oh, she's not that confident? Right? If I start not looking into your eyes and looking here and there, you may get a feel of like, maybe she's not confident. Maybe she does not have those etiquettes of public speaking. Now, how do I display it? I'm displaying it through my eye contact with you. It's again a part of body language. If I'm using my hands, my gestures are a part of body language. I'm not getting very deep into the kinesics and promics of public speaking. Body language is a non-verbal thing. It's a non-verbal communication that involves my body movement. In any of the cases, I mean, when I go back to the history, public speaking started in Greece, where common people could not afford to have a lawyer, and they used to sit in gatherings and would speak their thoughts out. That's how it originated. They were their lawyers. Now imagine a situation. You are in the middle of your way and your car breaks down. You get out of your car. The first thing is you hit the tire with your leg, get frustrated in the scorching heat or rain or rainy season, whatever it is. You feel like, oh God, why did this even happen to me? Are you frustrated? And even if you've not said these words, if you've just kicked the tire of your car, if you've just banged your fist on the car, is enough to tell you that you were frustrated. That's how communicable our body language is. It changes in fraction of seconds. Anybody gives you, we often see, especially on the Indian roads, the other person hits the person's car. Oh, get down you. Oh, I'll pull your collar. And even if he doesn't say anything and holds him like from here, you know what he's up to. You don't even have to think again. Right? That's what body language does. I still remember I'd come from my a session somewhere in Europe, and I liked the way these people used to greet. Every time I saw them, they smiled at me. Every time I saw, we met and they were smiling. I didn't know these people. So I thought it was such a good gesture. I must follow it. So on my way back, luckily I had a session in Bangalore and I stopped there. So as I entered my hotel, I found this little girl with her parents. And I quickly smiled at her. She was not more than 3 to 4 years. And she didn't smile. I said, "You're not happy?" She says, "Who are you?" I said, "No, I'm Auntie. I don't talk to strangers." I said, "All right." I was sure that the parents must have taught her. So she was like, "Mama, why is this auntie smiling without any reason? Is she? Oh my God. She didn't speak. I had this. So she said, is she? Why is she smiling at us?" Now the question arises, which made me think, oh my God, while in Rome, do as the Romans do. You cannot be copying anybody. But then it's important to understand how our body language can make relationships. And trust me, for 3 days, they were in the same hotel. I was in the same hotel. The third day, we both smiled at each other. This is what your body language can do to you. These are all these non-verbal cues help you to understand the emotions better. So it is important that, people in the workplace, they can convey a great deal of information even without speaking. So like maybe, somebody has to say boss calling. You don't have to shout and tell him your call and it's done. So maybe it's my turn to present now. It's okay to understand. If I say 55% is my visual, I do not mean to say that I am not focusing on my content. I always say, content is the king of your speech. Queen is your delivery. What is the soul of your speech, which will connect you to the audience, is the visual that you will display, your body language that you will show. I remember we were interviewing a candidate in a media agency. And this candidate was like, quite a witty one. So I asked him, I said, like, what made you come here? He says, humor. I said, but we were not talking about humor. He says, no, I didn't mean humor. I said, I wanted to create humor here. While speaking this, he started laughing. He said, ma'am, can I say something? I mean, I was just looking at his body language. He was so confident. When I said humor, I know this channel isn't working on humor. I want them to. Which gave him the job. Right. What added to his confidence was the gracious smile and a little laugh which he carried. You never know, or you may not even understand what the other person may think of or take your emotion as. Like any spoken language, body language has words. It has sentences. It has its own punctuation. Even a single gesture that you do is like a single word, and one word may have several different meanings. So when I say several different meanings, I mean to say my pause could mean anything to you. Oh, she's forgotten the speech in between. Maybe somebody thinks like that. So don't ever practice silence in public speaking until you're a pro. But when you throw a gesture, it speaks volumes. talks about what you're trying to convey. It gives your audience a reason to understand. Why did he or she go silent? What would have been the reason? Are you creating that suspense? Or maybe you've said something absolutely important and then you're giving that time for them to digest it. So your pause is not only your vocal intonation, but it is also helping the other person with their body language understand what it means. What does it signify? And that's where it plays a big role, as it gives you the messages about the other person. Imagine, coming up on the screen and saying, "Oh, why is the screen all closed? Couldn't you even open the windows?" The very first moment, the impression would have, "Oh my God, such a frustrated trainer she is." Maybe, the gap between my eyebrows decreased to show my frustration. So be mindful, your eyebrows play a huge role. Getting up, surprised, frowning. When we use our body language, it is important that whatever emotion I want to show to my audience becomes pretty clear. Should not be in ambiguity. Also, what would have she meant? So like scratching your head, left you with a lot of confusion. So scratching your head means, oh my God, I don't even understand a word she said. Am I scratching my head to give you that, what did she, I'm leaving you in a confused state. There's so much to interpret about it. Your tear falling from your eyes is the emotion that it is displaying. You need not say anything. You may not say anything, but definitely once you've spoken about it, your audience understands and knows whether the tear was filled with grief, or was it a tear of joy? That's where you start to understand. My hand gestures, what is the kind of posture I'm applying, my eye contact, my facial expressions. One thing that my students love coming to the public speaking classes, when I ask them, let's practice facial expressions today. I'll be doing the same with you. I mean, if you're there on the screens, pretty good. If you're not there and you're behind the screens, let's do it for ourselves. Let's laugh for ourselves. Come on. 1, 2, 3, let's laugh. Now, when you are able to emote it, you see your mouth going so wide and your lips, turning upwards. These are the smileys you're using every moment you get into your WhatsApp. Right? So you're sending hugs, you're sending those love eyes, beautiful eyes you show. What are those? Your facial expressions. And the moment your friend says, I cannot party with you today, look at the angry red face you're going to send. What does it denote? It's a part of your body language. So when I talk about it, whether it is my hand gestures, whether it's my posture, it's very important when you start with your speech to stand in a power pose. What is the kind of posture that somebody expects out of you when you go on the stage and stand is the power pose. Now, what does this power pose say? Whatever I show that you are confident. Second, This theory of power pose suggests that an open pose can raise your testosterone levels and lower down your cortisol levels. That means you have increased your dominance and you have lowered your stress. So if you have that confident language and pretend you feel powerful, you're more likely to actually feel it. And by the way, who doesn't want to feel powerful on the stage, please? But the question is, how do I do it? So for that, stand straight with your shoulders back and feet and shoulder width apart. Imagine that your shoulders opening from one another so that they rest centrally. I cannot be, oh God, or just giving a tilt. No, has to be straight. You've got to place your hands on either side of your body so that you can easily make the use of the hands. Rest them on the central position. Face the audience. Face the audience as much as possible. If you are in a large room, tilt your whole body towards different parts of the audience so everyone feels included. Have you ever heard of the Z formula? Have you heard of a Z formula in public speaking? Anybody?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. I remember I was standing in the hall and there was a participant. He said, ma'am, like we are sitting right in the back. How will you ensure that we are listening to you or not? I said, that's quite easy. Not at all difficult. No, but how are you going to do it? I said, I have a very secret formula for this. I'll catch you with my Z formula. What's that Z formula about? I said, all right, let me explain it to you. So this Z formula is if you are doing a group on group conversation, right? It's a huge group. Maybe you're standing in the auditorium or in a conference room, right? How do you have, and you are on the stage centrally placed, what you can do is you can make your eye contact in a Z formula. Start from the person in the extreme left and the extreme back. Start moving from left to right. The row is done. Start coming, a little horizontally. Start coming ahead to the very first lane or maybe how the seating arrangement is done. And then again, start from left to the right. Do you get how does it work? From the last, coming to the front, left, and then going to the right. Get the Z? Similarly, keep on moving. One step ahead, one step ahead, one step ahead, one step back, one step ahead, one step back. Finally, you'll be in the middle. Repeat it. You have a wonderful eye contact with everybody. And for a speaker, the best part is that we understand we do not need feedback forms. No. The best feedback anybody can give you is through the expressions he's giving you when he's listening to you. Not happening. Fidgeting. Not happening. Something somewhere is wrong. I'm not able to catch the audience. I'm not able to grab the attention of the audience. That's your clear feedback. You may not even need a form to understand were you good or not. Their movements, their gestures, their facial expressions, their postures, maybe after some time somebody's like, oh, so you understand. You have not been able to touch them. All right. So it is important Now, when I talk about hand movements, when I talk about the posture, when I talk about the eye contact or the facial expressions, remember, they all have to be in a sync. I cannot be using, oh, I did not use my hand. Oh, the posture was not correct. Or maybe giving facial expressions a little delayed. No. Everything has to be in a proportion, in a balance. And if you do not do that, it really helps. It really is a misfit for the way you are speaking. So make sure when you talk about body language, your gestures are appropriate, your face is giving the right facial expression, and you are at the best of your posture. While the mouth tells one story, your gestures and posture may tell a different story. Right? So if everybody who's there on the window, I can see Nitika ma'am there. So if I see that, she's smiling at me, my mouth is telling her one story. But at the back end, she's also thinking something else. What does this picture show you? Can you see Mr. Obama and Mr. Trump?
Yeah, Obama is not looking interested in handshake.
Sorry, I missed on your voice. Mr. Obama and Mr. Trump. So what do you get from their body language?
Obama is not looking interested in handshake.
Okay. Yes. And how do we get to know that?
He's looking somewhere else. No eye contact is there.
No eye contact is there. Whereas Mr. Trump is quite understanding and he said, look, I'm gonna take your seat this year.
Yes.
That's the focus. While the mouth, maybe, now, let me interpret in the another way. Mr. Trump may be a very good person with his content, but his gestures may be, oh, I'll see you somewhere. Maybe when he does his eye contact, it's like a little arrogant, whereas Mr. Obama thinks, oh, I'm cool, that's fine. Right? Can I say that Nitika's interpretation was wrong? No. Can you say that my interpretation is wrong? No. One thing in our personalities is quite okay with. It's not about right or wrong. It's about perspectives. It's about the perception. How the other person shows you. So if I talk about these two gentlemen, whom do you think you will give a little more score than the other one if it comes to public speaking or body language?
Trump is more, I think.
Trump. All right. I said there's nothing right or wrong. There are no right and wrong in these kind of answers. Of course not. I find Obama a great orator. He won his presidential election because of the last speech that he gave. There was outroar of people when he spoke his last speech. And look at his gestures. And I'm strongly recommending you, if you've not seen that speech, please go on the YouTube and look there. There is a link. And I'll put it up when I end this session. There's a link where you see the last speech given by Obama for his presidential elections. You'll be amazed to see the kind of conviction he could bring in. So that's why I say, while your mouth tells one story, your gestures may have 100 of them. Your posture may tell them absolutely a different scenario or a figure that you must not even have thought of. When I talk about gestures, we have descriptive, emphatic, suggestive, and prompting. Like we're talking about Mr. Obama and Mr. Trump. Mr. Obama has always been emphatic. He quickly underscores a verbal message. If you've read his book also, I mean. Descriptive is when I'm trying to clarify on something. The session we are doing or the kind of movements I'm talking about are a little descriptive because we're describing something. We're talking about body language at length. When I talk about emphatic, it underscores a verbal message, talks more about showing the gesture. Suggestive is just like, all right. So my ideas and my emotions, my face expression is entirely playing that role, which I'm suggestive of. So immediately when I said, she's asking me, what happened? Well, it's suggestive. Immediately it clicks your mind. And sometimes it's prompting when you evoke a desired response. Immediate. So when we talk about these gestures, every gesture has a great role to play. Sometimes it's important that I be descriptive, but sometimes a little suggestive idea hits the entire core. Sometimes it's just a prompt. We must actually know how to make clear use of this. As I said, when I enter the stage, I'll definitely look forward to be into a power pose mode so that I appear confident to my audience. They know I know my subject. The next moment, I could be at little ease when I've connected with them. As a speaker, the initial 30 to 45 seconds are very important. Initial 30 to 45 seconds, wherein you can grab that attention, wherein you can connect with that audience. And how do you do that? With your visuals, with your body language, with the kind of gesture or with the kind of posture that you're going to show them. Now, these gestures, they have different indications. There are several gestures which indicate openness and sincerity. Open hands. I am confident. It's fine. I'm open to your questions. So that's okay. Then, you understand that, oh, she's confident. She's fine. Unbuttoned coat or collar. It's like, not up to that. Leaning slightly forward in the chair. Huh? What? Cannot be doing that. Oh, all right. Removing your coat or jacket and moving in a Hollywood or a Bollywood style. Oh, I understand. They have their own stigmas. We cannot. The common man needs to build himself up to be able to reach that position wherein certain things become unobjectionable. Sometimes we just uncross our arms and legs. We just move closer. So these common gesture clutters, they talk about the openness. We've seen a lot of speakers do that. In the mid of the session, removing their coats when they don't know, or the formals have been done. And they want to be connected with you. They want to see more approachable, right? So if I remain a little high-headed types, how do I show that high-headed types in my body language? Oh yeah, anybody has a question? My vocals and my face being blank shows the entire body language. But if I remove my collar, jacket and I say, oh, come on, we're all open to this session. We're going to be like, let's be interactive. Does that sound more connected? These gestures talk about the openness. They talk about the sincerity of the speaker, how they want to get connected with you. And that's what every good speaker will do. people are proud of what they have done, they usually show their hands quite open, as I said. Oh, yes. It shows that they are already a pro into it. You accepted them. When they're not often put their hands into their pockets or hide back, when people show signals of openness, that means they are generally beginning very comfortable in your presence, which is very good. As I said, just removing my jacket would be like, oh, now we are getting out of that formal zone to come into that connect zone, where you understand now this is done. You cannot be going onto the stage and removing your jacket first and telling them, oh, it's pretty hot. Don't do that until and unless you are actually a known speaker or somebody who people actually rely on. I cannot be doing that. Won't be justified. Gradually, you start to make that connect. As I said, 30 to 45 seconds are pretty crucial. By the time you're building on that foundation, which you are laying for your audience, gradually things change. There are also people, who are usually defensive. They will have a rigid body. Yeah, all right. Their arms and legs are clenched with each other. Their eyes are glancing like, okay. Very less eye contact. Their lips are pursed, their fists are clenched and downcast head. Very rigid, as if I'm not interested. I cannot be defensive about it. So, a public speaker will not get into that rigidity zone. A good public speaker will always have that flexibility. Our evaluation gestures, they talk about, is my head tilted? It's like, you may see some people sitting like, or like, what is she saying? As if they don't understand. Or it's like, which is not happening. It actually shows that you are evaluating somebody. Is she good enough? I don't think so. She was saying something. Baat mein to dum hai. So like it's just like you, oh God, evaluating somebody. Don't do that. It may look a little harsher to others. Or maybe, talking to the audience. They're like, oh God, as if we're being interviewed. We don't want to show to our audience that, we're actually analyzing you. We as public speakers are always there for you. There's a difference. With you, for you, from you, about you, or over you. The choice is all ours. And this choice is pretty easier to be done or made when we have the right body language. We certainly see to gain time for evaluating the situation people use. Sometimes you see people using cigarettes, piping their smoke habits, removing their eyeglasses. Now that definitely gives quite a negative gesture. Oh, it was like as if tired. Oh, sending into the air, I don't care kind of attitude. Now, before starting, I already said that public speaking may not be only confined to the zone of being there on the stage. So am I giving that negative emotional overreaction? We can't be doing that. That states two things about us. One, we are not avid listeners. Or we are not avid speakers. We are not avid communicators. Because in order to be a good communicator, first thing is you've got to be attentive listener. So I cannot be doing this in the class or anywhere, sitting with people, which looks quite embarrassing to the others also. And the other person starts thinking that he is getting evaluated. Sometimes in suspicion, in some kind of secrecy, in rejection and doubt, these negative emotions are communicated typically. Like sarcastic. No eye contact happening. Shifting the body away from the speaker, touching or rubbing. Sure. As if I am still into some, kind of a zone where I don't trust you. I'm still quite suspicious about you. And I cannot be actually suspicious. If you are also, you cannot be showing it to people. Isn't it? You cannot be telling them that, oh, I don't care kind of attitude does not work. Right? Or if I don't care attitude does not work, also what does not work is you making them understand that I am quite apprehensive about what you've said. Your body language, your body gestures are going to say this, whether you like it or not. You have already made that benchmark pretty clear. That if I am into suspicion, I may do this. Sometimes it's important to confide, depending on the situation, or hide the exact movements of the body. Right? Whether it is standing on the stage, let me take an example of standing on the stage. As I told you, if it's an eye contact, it could be a Z movement. It can also be your hand gestures. Why? When used correctly, hand and arm gestures, they can help enhance your message. Make you see it, as I said, opening your hands. It amplifies your story. You will come across as more genuine and believable. Think of your hand gestures as a storytelling tool. What are you doing? You're putting verbs into actions by acting them out with your hands. But don't overdo it. Gesture sparingly. Focus on the action words. Make your gestures strong and defined. We begin in a very neutral position. Hands on the either side, as I said on the power pose. You could just use a symbolic gesture. We've talked about it. 2, just for the number. Raise your hand. Stop, stop, stop. Or somebody has said, oh, who's she? And you ask, who? The other person knows whom you're talking about. Right? So when you use these gestures, this is a descriptive gesture I was talking about. Shape. Oh, where's that box? Which one? Now, what does this say? Triangle. Use your emotional gestures. To communicate your feelings, just like your hands clasped together to show, now what am I doing? What does that tell you?
Pleading.
Yeah. It's you, even if I'm not there, we generally do it. Oh, I have an assessment, please, God. As if God is going to actually look into your hands. He may. But then use them appropriately. Just hands raised either side of your head to show your despair. My God. That's like, I am in despair. Your movement is another important part of your body language. Now, why? Moving around the stage is a great way of showing your audience that you are confident in saying what you are saying, including everyone in the conversation. Commanding the entire space around you, it shows strong leadership. And after all, when you're presenting, you are absolutely a leader. When you have that confident body language, you'll be more dynamic and interesting to listen. Your audience will not be more engaged, but they will more trust you. And that's one important factor what you can gain from body language. Build your trust. Don't pace around your stage, every 30 seconds. It becomes too distracting. You've got to wait at least 3 minutes before moving to the another area. You've got to time your movement on stage with a change of topic. Like, we do it in pauses when we talk about vocals. Today, we're talking about body language. When we talk about vocals, we take pauses, a short pause, a comma pause, a sentence pause, a paragraph pause, an emphatic pause. So when I change the entire topic, I may take a physical transition. Moving towards the audience when you're asking questions or making it, I cannot be, now ma'am said you've got to stand in the power pose. Please don't keep on standing in the power pose. You've got to, disconnect yourself from being powerful. We've got that. Thank you. We understood you're confident. Now get to the audience, leaning a little ahead. Just by stooping now. Stooping does not mean that you'll bend down. A little stoop, telling them that I'm talking to you. I'm connecting. Because, if you hear this word communication, there are 3 beautiful words in this. We all know the spellings of communication, right? But if you look into that, there are 3 words that are together, which makes a lot of sense. You and I. Got it? Uni. Uni means one. I am the one who's going to grab the attention. And you and I also means it's all about you as a listener and I as a speaker. So is the communication being done in a proper manner? It's between you and I. And that's what communication is all about. How you express it with your visuals, with your body language, your expressions is going to make your speech. I have seen a lot of people when they walk on the another side of the stage, they turn their back to the areas of the audience. And that's one point of disconnect and also is considered pretty rude on the part of a speaker. Never turn your back towards the audience. If you've got to go on the stage, could be like this, a little semicircle, but never turn your back. Number of people in presentation skills also do this. They'll turn back to the visual immediately and then they'll speak. It's an absolutely disconnect. How beautiful your PPT is doesn't matter. And the another thing which is quite common, a mistake which people make, they somewhere start swaying or rocking on the spot, moving. You're not in the cradle, babies. You don't have to just rock on the spot. You can't be swaying yourself. Either walk to another area of the stage or don't move your entire body at all. One thing that people will look up at you is the expressions that you are giving them. People depend on facial expressions, to interpret motives and emotions. So an audience will respond better to you if you are expressive. And this is a bit like acting, a little drama. Makes sense. If we talk about, we generally start with our public speaking with rhetorical questions, which adds an element of dramatic influence, which we leave. Nah, it's okay. It's dramatic. It's okay to do that if your audience is liking. But it's important to understand what your audience demands from you. Your connect with your audience acts like your soul. which is going to add life to your, speech, which is going to add life to your talk. When trying to show that kind of shock, confusion, raise your eyebrows. If you're conveying that anger, concern, frown, and you're happy in your story, simply smile. And for sad moments, it's okay to understand and slightly tilt the lips. I'm actually sad. It's fine. I said it's important to be dramatic. There are some mannerisms that we've got to follow. And people ask me, like, why mannerisms? Mannerisms are the nervous habits most people have that detract from your message and can make the audience feel uncomfortable. They are key to confident body language. Common habits, you have that you might not be aware of even. Fiddling with your hair. Yeah, I have seen this. I remember I had this schoolboy. He was in grade 11 when he'd come for his debate preparation. So he was like, ma'am, you know what? I said, I actually don't know, but please stop fiddling with your hair. And every moment after every sentence, he was like, ma'am, I said, no, I really don't know. First, you stop fiddling with your hair. I cannot be doing. No. That goes against the mannerisms of the stage. And how do I do all this? I mean, there are people, they will put their hands in pockets, which looks quite arrogant. Some people will try to use a lot of fillers. Fillers are what? Like, these are fillers. You're trying to fill those gaps. Wherein you're trying to act, pata bhi nahi chal raha hoga, people know you better. Now, how do I break these habits? It is important that I film myself speaking and become aware of them. Maybe you could just ask a trusted friend to tell you if you have any. And once you've acknowledged your nervous habits, work in your everyday conversation to just break them. If you can break them on a small scale, you'll likely find that they disappear in front of the larger audiences too. Number of people have this question. Ma'am, I have that breathing thing. My breathing goes actually fast. I have thousands of butterflies in my stomach when I'm on the stage. It's okay. I used to tell them, you just have those soft butterflies, which are good enough to have. I used to have these mota rats, and I had to, leave that cat of confidence into me, instill myself so that it eats up all the rats of my being not confident. But it is also important that I realize that there is only one mantra to public speaking. And that mantra I'm going to give you today. It's all about practice, practice, and practice. And how does it come? With another two P's: patience and perseverance. Never let it go from your hands. It will take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You cannot become a public speaker in a day. It will need a lot of efforts. It will need a lot of strength. And how do you get that? From 3 Ds. If you have the desire to become a public speaker, if you are determined to do that, and how much is your dedication in putting both of these? That's where you start to adopt these skills. Before you present or speak in public, where you understand that I am going to be the major, doing this keynote, speaking in front of the audience, do some breathing exercise to warm up your voice, fill your lungs. For the day, when I started, I was coughing a little, I was choking. This is my 8th session for the day. So by the time It's evening, and I quickly just finished my first session and got into the another one. So before that, I did a little breathing exercise, which helped me to come back. If you feel that on the stage you're feeling that little choking happening, quickly do that little breathing. Nobody will get to know of it. Trust me. Did you get to know of it that I did it? Do it for yourself, and it will again come with practice. Relax yourself, take some deep breaths. You're speaking at the right pace. Your voice can project across the room. Slowly inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 4. Repeat this until you feel that I'm calmed down. It's important. Never forget the rule of 7:38:55. You are the masters of your scripts. Always remember that. And you are the ones who know what am I going to project. Are you prepared for that? I mean, it's become so easy for this generation. I'm sure, I bet on that. I remember we would sit in front of the mirrors, and our coach used to make us practice and practice. Today it's become so easy, sit down, open your phones, get into that selfie zone and start speaking. What do you have to notice? Not how am I looking? Mera makeup intact hai ya nahi doesn't matter to me. What is your makeup as a speaker? Is my eyebrow raising at the right angle? Is my smile a 30-degree or a 60-degree? What is required of me? Does my nose go a little up when I do this? Does my eye give the right direction? Am I connecting? Am I moving too much of my eyes? Notice this small things. And I think it will take not much time for you to actually be very confident of your body language. And for this, the only mantra again goes is practice, practice, and practice. So the next time you buy a phone, please don't tell your parents that I advised you, not the iPhone or something like that. Any phone that you buy, get it with a good memory card at least, so that you keep on, never delete first visual. Never. That's a checkpoint for you. That's how I started. When I still go back to my first videos, I have 2 teenagers at home. They are my biggest critics. So they will tell me, that's how you looked. I said, that's fine. Everybody has a start. It's okay. It helps you gain that confidence. This far I have reached. It's improving. It's helping you improve every day. Do that to yourself. Confide in your friend or your relative or your sibling, anybody. Ask them to give true reviews how your body language looks like. Am I doing too much? Now, don't be too over dramatic. I mean, you're not acting. You're here to impart a message. Do that. If you follow these simple things, public speaking is not that big demon which we've made. You'll be like, it is a mole out of the mountain and I can do it. And to do it, practice it. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot for this very informative session. Can we open the floor for questions if they have any?
Sure.
Yeah, the floor is open for questions. Guys, you can ask questions. Guys, one last time, the floor is open for questions. You can ask ma'am any questions if you want.
Ma'am, what exactly do we mean by underscoring a verbal message?
Sometimes what we do is, when I talk about verbal, it's my content, right? Sometimes when we use our gestures, we do underscore our verbal language. Oh, it did not mean that way. You get a better picture out of it. So, right. I mean, I have texted you something. They're like, oh, acha, ye matlab hai. But the moment I meet you and says, oh, so I meant this. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I never prefer saying sending a lot of written messages. They don't have emotions
Yes, true.
because it may be misinterpreted. So I find it WhatsApp has really helped me in getting into that voice notes because it gives you that emotions that you're trying to say.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
We have a question in the chat. What times do you think having a poker face helps other than playing poker?
That's a witty question. See, it is. I'll really have to go back to song by Lady Gaga here regarding this. So when I see, it's the inscrutable face that that reveals no hints. I, as a speaker, can go into that poker face for a moment when I'm into that silent zone, which will add on to the anxiety or the curiosity of the speaker. That's how I wanted to keep it. That's how I wanted to portray it. No, I could see how he was able to keep things a secret right up through publication. Now that has to be done when I am going to reveal something that's a secret. Now, when you have a poker face, you're not happy, you're not sad, you're just neutral. So the other person is in a little ambiguity here. What does he want to say? And your facial expressions are actually communicating nothing but mystery. So what are they gaining out of that mystery? Are you able to communicate that kind of anxiety or enthusiasm that you want to build on them? That's where it helps.
I hope that answers the question. I think with that, we come to the conclusion of the third workshop of Talkmasters. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot for the informative
Thank you so
session.
much. Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed it. Join us for the fourth session on Saturday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure.